Oh my gosh, I am so excited. Middle grade March is almost here. So exciting. So, today I want to go through some recommendations that I have for the middle grade March prompts, as well as a very long and not even complete list of possibilities for my middle grade March TBR. So, let's get to it. So the angle is going to change in between because I'm going to set up and take down as I do this because there's so many. I'm just surrounded by books and I don't even have all of them that I want. But okay. So obviously the first one is Pony by R.J. Palacio. This is the group read for middle grade March this year. I am so excited to have this on my TBR officially. 12-year-old Silas is awoken in the dead of night by three horsemen who arrive unannounced to take his father away. He's left shaken, scared, and alone, except for the presence of his companion Mittenwool, who happens to be a ghost. So different. I can't. R.J. Palacio's writing is just beautiful. And I just think that's what we're going to have in this book. Look at these pictures. Gorgeous. The first prompt that I'm going to talk about is 5 words or more in the title. And I can't talk about this prompt without bringing out my very favorite book from 2021, The Circus of Stolen Dreams by Lorelei Savrin. His brother disappears, and one day she is so overcome with grief that she runs into the woods near her house, and she comes upon the Circus of Stolen Dreams, and there she can do all of the rides and all the attractions that she wants. All it costs is one of her dreams. And it's so gorgeous. It's so beautiful. It's wonderfully written. And this book, you guys, is so good. I can't. Okay. And The Circus of Stolen Dreams, that's 5 words. So that is book 1. And that's just going to stay right there. Another book that I would recommend is Murray and the Night Brothers. If you have not gotten on this train, you absolutely should. Again, we have a brother who has been missing, and Amari wants to find out what happened to her brother. Cece Rios and the Desert of Souls by Kayla Rivera. Her sister is kidnapped by El Sombrerón, and she is doing everything that she can to get him back, or to get her sister back. It's beautifully written. It is steeped in Mexican folklore. It's just very good. And another recommendation is Long Road to the Circus by Betsy Bird. This one, Z Bowles, is loves the idea of getting away from her small town life, and she sees an opportunity in learning how to ride ostriches as being her way out. This is a historical fiction, takes place in the 1920s, but it has beautiful illustrations. It's wildly funny, and it's a really good book. In terms of what I think I could possibly read for this prompt, I have Kiki Kaliri Breaks a Kingdom. This is a girl who can draw an imaginary world into an existence. I have not gotten to this one yet. The Many Mysteries of the Finkel Family by Sarah Capit. This is about twin sisters, Lara and Caroline, and they are always doing things together. One of them decides she doesn't really want to do everything together anymore, and she starts a detective agency. has to find mysteries, and it's really fun. There is a neurodiversity rep in this book. I think one of the characters is autistic. I'm not 100% sure. I haven't read it yet, but this is definitely a possibility. For me, Charlie Thorne and the Last Equation by Stuart Gibbs is another possibility. Stuart Gibbs is the author of Spy School. If you have watched my channel at all, you know how much I love Spy School. This is a newer series by the same author. Charlie Thorne is a genius, and she has to save the world because she's a genius. I'm not 100% sure what this is about. It has to do with an equation, spy stuff. I think it's going to be good. So there's another one. An Elephant in the Garden by Michael Morpurgo. This is a World War II historical fiction about the bombing of Dresden. Lizzie's mother is a zookeeper, and she persuades the zoo director to allow an elephant to be kept safely in their garden. And it's based on a true story. I have not read this. It's a short book. I feel like this is one that I want to read either way. So this is definitely a possibility for 5 words or more. And oh my gosh, I actually have 2 more possibilities for this one, and I'm really sorry. The first is The Bookshop of Dust and Dreams by Mindy Thompson. This is about a bookshop that appears to whoever needs it for whatever reason, and it can travel through time and space, and it just sounds fascinating. But I also want to get to this one. This Can't Be Happening at McDonald Hall by Gordon Corman. This was the first book that he ever read, and it just looks like it will be, classic, funny Gordon Corman. So again, short little wisp of a book. If I have a weekend one time that I can sit down, I might just kind of do this one anyway, because it's got a skunk on the cover. Let me set up for prompt number 2. The second prompt is an orphan main character. So for this one, I don't actually have copies of any of the books that I would recommend. However, Winter House by Ben Guterson is amazing. Really has a magical realism to it. Magical hotel vibes. It's really fun. The Unadoptables by Hannah Tuke also has magical realism in it. In here, a group of orphans is labeled as unadoptable, and they run away from the orphanage in order to find a better life. An Orphan Island by Lauren Snyder is probably the strangest book on this list. In Orphan Island, there is an island, and every so often a child shows up and is a new orphan that must learn to survive on the island. It's very crazy. I definitely would suggest this is more for an older middle grade reader, but I really, really liked it. Some other books that my students would like me to mention: The Series of Unfortunate Events. That series is inundated with orphans. Magnus Chase series by Rick Riordan has orphans in it. I have not read that one, so I don't actually know how accurate that is, but that's what my students told me. In terms of what I would like to read for this one, I have Beyond the Bright Sea by Lauren Woke. This has crow who's lived her entire life on a tiny isolated piece of the starkly beautiful Elizabeth Islands in Massachusetts, abandoned and set adrift in a small boat when she was just hours old. Crow's only companions are Osh, the man who rescued and raised her, and Miss Maggie, their fierce and affectionate neighbor across the sandbar. I have a student that absolutely was like, yeah, you need to make sure that this stays on your TBR. When I saw she was reading it and I said it was on my TBR, and she was like, yeah, yeah, that's the one that you need to read for that one, Miss Bowman. And I was like, okay, so this is the one that I'm really looking at reading for that. Oh, do you know what else has an orphan in it? 3 Times Lucky. Who wrote that? I don't remember. I'm going to put 3 Times Lucky right here. I love 3 Times Lucky. It's good. I'm just going to put it right here. Okay. Another book that I would consider for this one is Forever or A Long, Long Time. Again, for this one, I don't know if it's actually orphan, but it's definitely a foster care situation. Because Flora, the main character, is trying her best to trust 2 more people, her new dad and her new mom, whom she calls Person. But then Person tells Flora there will soon be a new baby. I've heard people talk about this, and I don't remember what they've said about it, but I've heard a lot of people talk about this one. So that would be a possibility as well. And then Wanderville by Wendy McClure. This is about a group of orphans who jumped off the train and they set up a little community of orphans and called it Wanderville. It is a series, and I'm kind of excited to get to this one too. I read part of this for a library try chapter, so I think I might want to pick this one up too. So possibilities, right? The third prompt that I'm going to talk about is an Asian main character or an Asian author. So for this one, the first book that came to my mind was Front Desk by Kelly Yang. I have the second book here. This is the one that I would like to get to. Mia and her family are immigrants from China, and they run a hotel. In the first book of the series, they run a hotel. They harbor immigrants in the hotel that need a place to stay. And now this is the second one. So this is on my TBR, but I would definitely recommend Front Desk. That's the first one by Kelly Yang. Another one that I would recommend, another duology that I would recommend is Amal Unbound and Omar Rising by Aisha Saeed. Amal Unbound and Omar Rising take place in Pakistan, in a Pakistani village, and Amal in the first one gets in trouble with the landlord of their community. In the second one, Omar is a scholarship student at a prestigious school, and he quickly learns that the deck is stacked against him. Both of them are beautiful pieces of writing. Both of them have almost the most beautiful covers imaginable, and I highly recommend both of them. Omar just came out in February, so there you go. Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga. This is a novel in verse. This one was brought up, I know, at the middle grade recommendations live. I totally second that recommendation. Amina's Voice. This is a Pakistani immigrant family living actually in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and they face prejudices, and this is also a beautiful story. So this is Amina's Voice by Henna Khan is the author's name. There's actually a second one to this one as well called Amina's Song, and I would recommend both of those. So I already talked about, Some other, so many recommendations for this one. Some other ones that I would recommend are Soul Lanterns by Shaw Kuski. That takes place in Japan about 25 years after the bombings during World War II. It was originally written in Japanese and translated into English. Possibilities for an Asian main character. Single Shard by Linda Sue Park. I don't actually know anything about this one. Tree Ear's an orphan boy in a 12th century Korean potter's village. For a long time, he is content to live with Crane Man under a bridge, barely surviving on scraps of food. All of that changes when Tree Ear sees Master Potter Min making his beautiful pottery. That's a possibility. This is Shadow Spinner by Susan Fletcher. This book I just received in my Books and Treasure box, and it takes place in the Arabian Peninsula. It is a retelling of Arabian Nights. This would definitely count for an Asian main character. And A Wish in the Dark. This is a Thailand retelling of Les Mis by Victor Hugo. This is A Wish in the Dark by Christina Soontorvat. And I don't really know anything else besides that about this book, and it's beautiful cover. So those are my choices for that one. All right, so then our next prompt is, this is contemporary. Let's get to it. All right. Contemporary, I have some ideas. All right, so for contemporary, here are some ideas. I have Alex Fleck's Recipes for Disaster. This is by Rachel Delaney. I just loved this book. If you like cooking competitions, this book could be for you. Alice is in a Victorian cooking competition with her dad. There's this mystery because somebody is trying to wreak havoc essentially in the competition, and it's in this beautiful Victorian mansion setting. It's just very atmospheric, and I just really liked it a lot. Some of the food mentioned in here is going to make your mouth water, and some of it is going to make you very, very happy that you did not live during Victorian times. So that is Alex Fleck's Recipes for Disaster by Rachel Delaney. Another one that I would recommend is An Occasional Happy Family by Cliff Burke. This one follows, I can't remember his name. Theo. This follows Theo Ripley. He is dealing with some grief because his mother passed away, but his dad decides to take them, his family, on a vacation. It is Theo, his sister, and his dad, and they're kind of going in a roundabout way, and funny things happen. It's really good. I really liked it. It is more of a summary type book, but definitely one that if you're looking for a cute, funny, but also heartfelt story, this is really a good one for that. The Islanders by Mary Alice Monroe. This was her middle grade debut. She is a very prolific adult romance and contemporary writer. So this is her middle grade debut, and in it we have a young man. Jake is staying with his grandma on Dewey Island, and he learns a lot about the wildlife because his grandma doesn't believe in kids being inside at all. So he makes friends with other kids around the island, and it's just a really, really good time. I really enjoyed this one. And then another one that I recommend is Swindle by Gordon Corman. This is a cute little mystery series. I've only read the first one. There is a baseball card. A very rare baseball card is found in a mansion, and that baseball card gets stolen and they're trying to retrieve it from the people that stole it. It's just a really good time, and it's a nice little short book. So if you're looking for a short book, this is a good one. Some possibilities for contemporary. I have Rena Talgemeyer. I really liked her first one, Smile. This is Guts. And Sisters would be the next two in the series. So both of those would actually be possibilities for me, but this is the one that I had. It is a graphic novel, so having a graphic novel as a possibility is a good idea. Hide and Geek. This is a recent acquisition of mine from my Bookshelf Thomasville subscription. It is a mystery with a bunch of puzzles and a treasure and all kinds of good stuff. So this is one that is this is one that's kind of reminiscent of like Escape from Mr. Lemonchill's library. So that is a possibility. Another possibility for me is the Penderwicks. This was highly recommended by Krista and Katie, and I think Amanda, like all three of the hosts for Middle Grade March, but also my students pointed this out when I said I needed a contemporary book. They were like, ooh, the Penderwicks. Have you read that one yet, Miss Bowman? And I was like, okay, so recommended by students. Another possibility is The Jigsaw Jungle. This I found, I don't remember where it was recommended to me, which is why I started writing down where books are recommended from. But this is written in a mixed media, which I think is really fun and kind of why this is on my list. We have notes to the reader, phone transcripts, video transcripts, text messages, flyers, just all kinds of things like that. Christine Levine is the author here. When her father doesn't come home after work on the last day of the school year, 12-year-old Claudia Dalton and her mother fear the worst. But after her mom files a missing persons report, the police conclude that Claudia's dad abandoned them. Stunned and angry, Claudia is left wondering if her dad's leaving was her fault. So that is another one that I would love to get to in March. There's no way I'm going to get to all these books, you guys. Oh, man. The last prompt is a book that is older than you. So some books that have been on my list that are older than me. I don't really have any recommendations for this because I don't know how old you guys are. But Peter Pan, I'm thinking, is older than quite a few people. But I read this one this year and I really enjoyed it. The Secret Garden I just read and I really enjoyed that. I definitely recommend both of those. In terms of something that I am wanting to read, I want to read Heidi at some point, Pollyanna. But the one that I'm really thinking is Miracles on Maple Hill by Virginia Sorensen. This was published in 1957. It's a Newbery Medal winner, and it came recommended by Krista. So, it's going to be good. So this is definitely one that is on my list to read for a book that is older than me because I was born in 1982. That is it. Those are the books that I am recommending to you. Those are the books that I am hoping to read at some point in my life. Some of those being in March. I hope that you have found some great ideas in this video and all of the other videos that are coming out for recommendation. I'm going to put in the description the link to the live middle grade March recommendation video that Katie and Amanda and Krista did because it was a phenomenal video, so full of ideas. You should definitely watch it if you have not yet. The comments there are also full of great ideas. And it's just great. So I want to thank Krista and Amanda and Katie for hosting Middle Grade March every year. It is so fun. This is my second time participating, but I just had so much fun last year. I've just been thinking about it all year. That's it. Those are my recommendations. I hope that you are finding something wonderful to read. And until next time, happy reading.